Yeah, man. Check it out. Guess who's sitting on the couch right now? The recognizable face of Mr. Trent Reznor. Of course, representing 9 Inch Nails today on the brown couch. And sir, may I shake your hand?
You may.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Right on, man. You're back with this band of yours. You've got a few new players hanging out with you, doing some shows, and more importantly, you've got this album now. You've got With Teeth, which you're playing live and you're representing. And obviously, you're very proud of. Otherwise, you wouldn't have attached your name to it and put it on the shelf. You know, how does it feel now thinking about the record? You know, getting close for people to interpret it and listen to it themselves.
It feels pretty good. I mean, the whole setup, really, from when I started working on this till up to this exact moment, everything's really falling into place. It feels strange. It feels right for a change. You know, and who knows what will happen as far as public response, but and that moment's coming, you know, Judgment Day. But it feels good. I feel like I've put my best foot forward, and I'm proud of what's there, and that's all I can do.
You mentioned before that, you know, for once it feels like things have actually fallen into place. I mean, was there a time in your life when you were like, oh, I think I'm actually, you know, born with this dysfunction surrounding my creative pursuit, you know?
Pretty much all of my life. I've had a lot of that feeling. But things at the moment, we're rolling. Very little to bitch about.
Things are rocking, man. You're looking well as well. We've got a lot of questions from the planet, MTV2Europe.com. We've got a veritable Bible here from people who want to ask you, and a lot of them focus on the fact you're looking pretty buff. I think a lot of people want to know what you're bench pressing at the moment, actually, because you're looking in shape.
I don't attach a number to things like that, you know?
Right, but you look like you're definitely hitting maximum weight, minimum repetition, because you've got some muscles going on there.
Well, you know, it's a long tour ahead of us.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to have to kick some ass and be ready. If I'm going to talk shit about people, I'm going to have to defend myself. So.
We wonder whether those days were gone, but you know, we pray that they haven't. We pray there's still a little bile in the system.
Don't worry.
Let's get straight into it right now with one of these questions. Tea or coffee? Let's start with a nice simple one from Miss Morbid Desire. Do you drink tea or coffee or both?
Coffee.
Right. And how do you have it? Straight black.
I could make a smart quip right now. I'll just say black.
Yeah, I know. All coffee gags have been done a billion times before and have been outruled on this show. What music is kind of inspiring you at the moment? Now, your album is done. I guess you're in a position to listen to a lot more records without feeling torn between your own creative pursuit and kind of listening to what other people are doing, other ideas. It must be kind of nice.
It is. I mean, yeah, I have paid attention to kind of what's going on, and occasionally the thing comes up that I think is pretty inspiring. I like DFA Productions have stood out to me.
Well, you've asked them to, you got them to remix. You have a crack at that.
We did. You know, I really like the LCD sound system record. You know, there's the occasional thing that pops up that I think is pretty good.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. It's the first couple of questions from the planet out the way. We're going to come back after this and we're going to talk in detail about the making of With Teeth with Trent Reznor. Trent Reznor is hanging out with us today on the brown couch. Comfy, isn't she? Hey?
It's nice.
Makes you feel good. Right on. Back with a new album called With Teeth. Whole bunch of songs that feature together in one consistent listen, and is that difficult for you to achieve? You know, when you're making a record, just think how it's going to. You know, the first song is so important when people hear that first track, and then you know, track 3 tends to be the single if you're looking throughout history. And do you look at it on those terms?
Well, this record started off as more of a. I started off doing it kind of like I did the Downward Spiral. I had an idea for an arc of the story and a concept, and a title, and a number of song titles, and a starting point, and an ending point, a resolution, and all the trimmings. And when I started actually writing the songs to fill in the blanks, I found that for a number of reasons, maybe just being in a clear headspace, maybe having more confidence as I started writing, I realized what I was doing was good. It could have been the way I wrote the record. I started with words and did demos on a piano instead of writing in the studio. And there wasn't any real reason I chose to do it that way other than it felt like the right thing to do. But as I was working on the record, the songs started to stand on their own, and I thought I allowed myself to think that they are good on their own, and trying to jam them into this vehicle, or this kind of construct of a story felt like I was forcing the issue. It started to feel a little pretentious, and
must have been a relief to be able to let go of that in a way, to be able to say, you know what, that served its purpose.
Yeah.
That live experience, you know.
A lot of rules I'll come up with serve their purpose to get things going. You know, I know they might change, but sometimes having regulations and restrictions help me focus on what needs to get done. I don't have a band that sounds a certain way. I'm not being dictated to by others what I need to be like, so I'll start with kind of general rules, and sometimes they change, but I think, as I've had some time to think about how this record's progressed and had to look back at it, the main thing that seems different is I have an unusual confidence that would allow me to throw those rules out, or allow me at some point to say, it doesn't need all this crap on it. I think it's good the way it is. And that also happened when it came time to arrange the songs, from taking it from demo to final version. I went from Los Angeles, where I now live, to New Orleans, where my studio is, and the plan was to flesh them out and fill all the cracks with lots of stuff, and secrets and backwards this and that, and, the obligatory satanic messages that have to go in. Part of my deal with Satan is to get those in there.
Of course, represent.
Hey, I got eternal youth out of the deal. So.
Right, that's fine.
But as I started trying to do it, I realized that it didn't really need that stuff. It might be confidence, or it could be laziness, but it felt like I was okay letting some things go. And it even carried through to, say, a song like The Hand That Feeds, or the last track on the record, Right Where It Belongs. Both of those, when I was writing them, the first voice that pops up in my head is one that says,
it's done.
You can't do this. Too accessible, too pop, too catchy, too... That was... it'd be safe for me to make a 14-minute art epic, because I've kind of done it, and no one's going to make fun of you for doing that.
And you've got the fans in place who will appreciate it and buy it.
Maybe, but I wrote some songs that felt like, wow, these are pretty catchy. And I didn't write them to buy a new pool. I wrote them because they sounded good to me. And at the end of the day, I felt like it's a strong song. Like a track like The Hand That Feeds kind of jumps out of the speakers after first listen.
Sounds like classic Nine Inch Nails to me, and I mean, you've said this before about how accessible that song is, and absolutely, there are hooks all over that track, and it's great, and it sounds great on the radio, video looks great on MTV, but it's certainly not overly accessible. It doesn't feel like you've made a pop song. It sounds like a Nine Inch Nails hit.
Well, in looking at the collection of things, I think it's on one end of the spectrum, and that always brings up a uh-oh, and really that uh-oh feeling is me worried about what people will think. And that's not really being honest with myself.
I mean this obviously with utmost respect, that as well as the world has changed, so perhaps your platform isn't as vast anymore to be able to say, I'm going to really push the boat out, I'm going to challenge people as much as I could, and that ultimately with this record, maybe you need to be more direct, you need to remind people this is exactly what I do, and this is who I am, and this is how straight ahead I can be,
I know what you're saying there, and I'm not taking offense to it, but it really wasn't why this came out the way it did, this record. I think that the record as a whole is more accessible, certainly than The Fragile. It really wasn't, it's been 5 years, I've been away being an addict somewhere, I've got to put out a record, I've got to... careers always come second to trying to make the best record I can make, and it's, it might sound pretentious to say, but I feel good about everything I've put out. I really believe in, and I think I've done the best I can do at the time and been as honest with myself as I can be. And I sleep good at night knowing that, and when this record was being written, it was kind of under the assumption, I got into this story with you elsewhere, but